Welcome back inside the Now Morning Show. Hope you're having a good morning so far. It is officially July-August vacation, and we want to make sure that your children are safe and well protected. This morning, Inspector Michelle Lewis joins us. Good morning, Inspector. It's been a while.
Good morning
We
to
missed you.
Ruckus. Good morning to the TTT Now program. It's
How you
a
doing?
pleasure to be here this morning. And yes, care and protection and care and custody of children is important.
All right. So tell me
Today
some of
begins the
the
holidays.
basic do's and don'ts for the July-August vacation that parents should be heeding.
Okay, so the first do that we want to emphasize on this morning is spending time with your children. Right? That is something that we tend to forget, neglect, think it's not important. But this morning we want to emphasize the parents and guardians to spend time with your children. You cannot get it back when you have lost that time. So come September, July and August will have gone. They're 2 months older. You cannot get it back. So spend time with your children, whether it's 2 days you take off from work or if you're able to get a longer period, and do something with them. You can bring across the other relatives and nephews and nieces, but do so because you don't have to spend money, like a lot of money, to actually make a child feel special, appreciated, and that kind of thing. So the first thing we want to encourage parents and guardians to do is to spend quality time with your children. When you do that, you do not allow an opportunity for someone else, like a gang leader, to come in and infiltrate and influence the child.
Right.
So we also want to encourage parents as well to remember to inform your children, to remind them of some of the things that they should and should not do. For example, what is good touch and bad touch. So during the July-August vacation period, you're still working,
Right.
but your children are off in school, from school. So you might want to leave them home with someone, ensure that that someone that you're leaving that child home with is a responsible adult.
Now define responsible.
Responsible adult is someone who is capable of taking care of the child mentally and physically.
Okay.
So that the person does not have any mental issue, the person is not intoxicated, the person is not bedridden, the person is well able to take care of that child or children.
And I want you to just define for me when you say child, because I know we tend to say under 18, child, right?
Yes.
Is that still the reference you're making? Because if, for example, a 16-year-old is staying home with a grandparent who might be, not fully 100, but could still say, hey, don't do that, or come and do that, but they're not 100 able to control the child, but the child is 15, 16. Is that okay or is that not?
Well, under the old Children's Act, before the new one came in 12 of 2012, right? Same 4601, but 12 of 2012, right? When that new act came in, it eliminated those teenage years that the law used to allow for children 16, 17 years old to stay with a child younger, or even that child 16, 17-year-old to stay with an adult who is not responsible enough. That has changed. So that a child by law now is anybody under the age of 17 years.
Right.
In fact, recently, Child Protection Unit charged a parent for leaving an 8-year-old to supervise a 1-year-old.
What?
The situation had to also involve the additional support of Children's Authority,
Right.
where the children had to be placed in the care and custody of Child Protection Unit because there was no responsible adult to leave the child with when that parent was, of course, charged.
Oh, wow.
So it's a very serious
It is.
serious
All right. So
situation.
then, would you suggest these vacation camps? How do we assess which camps to send a child to, which camps are the responsible ones? Who do we trust? How do we go about that process?
Right. So if you live in a community, you would see camps being advertised. Sometimes it's in the school compound, sometimes it's in the church. Sometimes it's in the community center. The counselors and stuff like that will have camps. It's ensure that it is important as a parent or guardian that you do your due diligence or that you do some good background checks. Make sure that you know some of the persons who are actually conducting the camp and supervising the children. Don't take it for granted that it is free. And because it is free and the child might also get a meal, that you're just going to allow the child to go there because it is the easiest thing to do.
Right.
We still have sexual penetration, sexual grooming taking place. We still have the bad influences by children, onto children, by adults and other children. So it is important that you do some checks to make sure that the environment is safe and that the space is safe for children. The thing about it is that when the mind of a child has been penetrated by ill-intended persons, bad thoughts and criminal activities and that kind of thing, it is difficult to try to win that out of the child because that seed has already been planted. But when you have the opportunity to groom a child in a particular way, you can look to the future and see the type of end product that you're going to get for Trinidad and Tobago and the society. So this point is also important for what we want down the road.
Yeah. I mean, how do you address parents who find it difficult to find that balance in terms of, you need to work to continue to provide meals for the house, pay the bills, all that stuff. You can't find that extra money to send your child to a vacation camp, as the case may be, or at least the one that you trust. It's too expensive for you to afford. How do you advise that parent to go about treating this vacation period?
Right, so there are institutions that actually have free camps, right? So if you're a parent, I don't think you would have been a parent like today. You would have known that school vacation coming up, and it ought to be put in, check-in from early as a responsible parent.
I mean,
mother or father.
Things just get a little busy.
I understand that, but I mean, the life of a child is, it's invaluable.
Yeah.
So yes, you mightn't be able to afford, right? Which is fine, because everybody's situation is different. But there are institutions that offer it for free. We're just asking you to pay attention to where you are sending the child or children for 8 weeks, Ruckus. 8 weeks is a lot of time to gamble with a child's life. We also want to encourage parents to be mindful of online usage, so that they are home more, they have more time at home, they have more time in the night and all, because they're not going to bed early for school the next day.
Exactly.
Right? So pay attention to that online usage. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, inform them about sexual grooming. So, for example, and what to share on social media. What not to share on social media, pictures of themselves, their face, or any body part, or anything like that, right? Encourage your child not to share any photo whatsoever of themselves in social media, regardless.
Why you say that?
Because those photos tell somebody, this is who I am. The police service, we have done some ads out there showing persons that, this person could be monitoring you. The person might be pretending to be a child or somebody around your age, when truth and in fact that person is properly a grown adult, male or female, right? We are very mindful. It could be anybody who is grooming you, right? So that when you put your information out there, you also bring yourself to be a softer target for crime, sexual penetration, or even gang offenses. When you're going out to the shop and the parlor, Ruckus, encourage your parents not to stop and talk to the persons on the street. They might know them, but just say good morning, good afternoon, and go on your way. Just as how you and I know it is July-August vacation period, the gang leaders who are grooming your children also know that it is July-August vacation. And they're going to start that rapport with your child to gain that level of trust, so that they can influence the mind of the child to do certain things bit by bit. And that vacation period also gives an opportunity for that.
But Inspector, doesn't that also block the idea of the village helping to raise the child? Because in communities, people tend to check on each other. There's certain communities where you might be going to the shop for whatever reason, and you would see Mr. Joe from across the road. But every time you pass, mommy just talk to him, daddy just talk to him, so I could talk to him as well. How do we tell the difference, and how do we teach children to tell the difference between who is good to talk to and who might be a negative influence? Or is it that we just don't talk to nobody? You go where you had to go and come back home. Say good morning, good evening, and be on your way.
Say good morning and good evening.
And be on your way.
And be on your way. I will tell you why. Because sometimes parents will tell children everything, and children don't know everything because they're small, they're naive, right? But we have communities in Trinidad and Tobago where the gang leaders are controlling the block. They're controlling the area. And so some of the parents also are also involved in the same activities and know that the children are involved in those kind of things. So you can't take it for granted that every community going to raise a child in a good way, because that doesn't happen in Trinidad. That does not happen in all communities in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah,
should be told.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's just I'm trying to understand how do we tell children to differentiate the difference, or do we just not bother? Do we just say forget that whole idea of of the village raising the child. Like we just focus on the household raising the child.
No, it is good to let your children know the environment and the atmosphere that they're in, because they're going to be walking out to go to school, travel, whatever, right? So it's good to share some level of information with them so that they are aware of what is taking place and what is around them.
Yeah.
When they're naive to the fact, because, parenting long time, we like to not tell children.
Shelter them.
Yeah, you use words and say this is an apple when really it's a private part, right? So tell them some truth, sufficient that they'll be able to
be aware.
Yes, to be aware.
All right, Inspector, can you give us the numbers? Well, we have them up on the screen, but I know you love to see some. If you see something, say something. So tell them how they can help you.
And that is where the community comes in.
Right.
Right, and that's for something that is bad. So if you do see something, definitely say something. We still have the TTPS number, direct number to the Commissioner of Police and the Deputy Commissioner, 736 TTPS 8877. And of course, we also have 999-555. The Child Protection Unit in every division is still there. And we want to encourage persons to look out for the children in a good way. Support the children, make sure that they have a good vacation, because we want that to happen. We want, when they're playing football and whatever, that they can enjoy their young years. We really want to have less of influences, bad influences, and criminal offenses against our children.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Inspector.
My pleasure.
All right, guys, we take a quick break and we come back with more inside the Now Morning Show. Specifically, we celebrating some birthdays when we come back, so stay tuned.
But nowadays and so